Welcome to the BEASTwriter family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we are going to be making sense of the Seahawks signing cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon to a one-year, $4 million contract. Now, before we go ahead and do that, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. Just be sure to turn on and flip on the bell notifications so to get notified when I go live or when I upload content. Also, I'm looking at my analytics and I'm seeing 56% of you guys are liking all my stuff, watching all my videos, but have yet to subscribe to my channel. So please do me a solid and do that in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, as you see here, as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Ahkello Witherspoon signing, pull up the ticker, a one-year, $4 million contract with the Seattle Seahawks. And again, I'm picking up subscribers daily now, so if you're new to following me, this is how I like to run my podcast. I like it to do it in simplest form and break it down into three parameters. The first one is, who are the players involved? The second parameter is why the move was made or potentially could be made. And the last but not least parameter is the instant gratification versus long-term gains. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the player. Who is Ahkello Witherspoon? Just make sure that ticker's up. It is. So who is Ahkello Witherspoon? Well, he's a 2017 third-round pick drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, number 66 overall. He clocked in at 6'3", 198 pounds out of the University of Colorado. He then put on some serious numbers despite being a workout warrior, you would say, and he displayed great agility, great explosiveness, great quickness in all positional drills, evident by running a 4.45 40-yard dash. He also had a 6.933 cone drill. Again, those are two measurables that I look for in a boundary cornerback. But aside from that, you hear these NFL analysts and these scouts when evaluating players, especially the cornerback position, they talk about twitch. And specifically when they talk about twitch, they're talking about players who have a fast twitch muscle fiber. And you see that in Ahkello Witherspoon's game. He had a 40.5-inch vertical jump. He also had a 127-inch broad jump. So if you're looking at the measurables, he stacks up extremely well, especially you combine that with the height that I just mentioned, 6'3". Come on, guys. 6'3", 198. That's the prototypical, the prototypical height, weight, speed specimen that you look for in a boundary cornerback. All right. Also, you want to take that and say, okay, well, how does that convert in the film room? Well, he led the nation with 23 pass breakups. That's right. Coming out of Colorado, he led the nation with 23 pass breakups. Is that the reason why he chose number 23? I don't know. Anyways, that's who Ahkello Witherspoon is. And let's go ahead and break down his strengths and weaknesses, right? So what is his strengths? Well, he has 4 career interceptions. He's a smart, savvy cornerback. He stays square at the line of scrimmage, and he displays patient feet. He doesn't open his hips up too early. That's something that you like to see in a boundary cornerback, because what you'll notice in his game is that he doesn't get beat very often downfield. But I'm going to talk about some things that, so stay tuned for that. And when it comes to opening his hips up too early, he doesn't do that, like I just mentioned. And he has the ability to mirror wide receivers downfield. So these are things that I like, in Ahkello Witherspoon's game. I think he's a perfect scheme fit for the cover 3 Seahawks defense. Obviously, Pete Carroll knows what he's getting in Ahkello Witherspoon, having faced him 2 times a year. Now, let's go ahead and take the bad with the good, right? You have to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Well, let's peel back another layer of the onion to really get to the core. What does he do bad? Well, he loses track of 50-50 balls downfield. He gets out-muscled when matched up one-on-one outside with these bigger-bodied wide receivers. You saw it with DK Metcalf, a few other guys. And the question that I have is him in run support. He's not very good in run support, and I see more of a catch tackler than a go-getter. So these are some things in this game that I think that can be coached up by Pete Carroll as he trains Ahkello Witherspoon to play the boundary cornerback in this system, and know that the hot tackling techniques that are taught, especially with the defensive backs, will definitely be taught up and coached up in Seattle with Ahkello Witherspoon. All right. So brings me to my next parameter, right? Why am I high on Ahkello Witherspoon? Why am I high on Spoon? Well, the answer lies in my grading system. As you guys know, I formulate my own grading system. I don't rely on PFF. And in 4 of his last 5 games, he balled out of control. What do I mean by that? Well, in my grading system, he only allowed 26 passing yards in 4 of those last 5 games to end the year. 26 passing yards? Really? And people are saying, oh, he's terrible. You guys don't even watch. I mean, I'm not saying you personally, but I mean, people who say that really don't know what they're talking about. Because if you actually watch game film and know what to look for on cover shells, leverages, splits, what's being asked of these players, not just the boundary cornerback when assessing Ahkello Witherspoon, but what the linebackers doing, what are the defensive line doing, what are the safeties doing. All right, so let's pump the brakes on saying he's terrible. And let's actually look at it on a snap-by-snap basis. All right, so here it is. I got you covered. Week 14 versus Washington, he was targeted 1 time, gave up 3 yards. 3 yards, that's it. Week 15 versus Dallas Cowboys, he was targeted 7 times, only gave up 1 completion. 1 completion, and he was targeted 7 times. And how many yards did he give up? 12 yards. That's it. 12 yards. And he picked up 2 pass breakups, which led the team on that game. Not bad. Actually, it's really good in my grading system, all pro level. Week 16, right, versus the Arizona Cardinals, he was targeted 7 times, gave up 5 completions for 56 total yards, and also came up with 1 interception. Not bad. All pro in my grading system. Week 17 versus Seattle Seahawks, his audition with Pete Carroll and GM John Schneider, he was targeted 7 times and only allowed 2 completions for a total of 11 yards. Came up with 1 pass breakup, but allowed the touchdown. And again, if you watch my earlier podcast, I like how I discussed earlier podcasts, how it ties into this one. If you look at my Twitter and YouTube receipts on my Seahawks playlist, which you can see here on my channel, you will notice that I did a Carlos Dunlap scenario as to why the Seahawks picked him up as a midseason trade. And it goes back to a game with the Cincinnati Bengals where he just balled out of control against Seattle Seahawks, harassing Russell Wilson. Same thing happens here with Ahkello Witherspoon. Jim John Schneider is always looking for talent, and he saw talent. He's like, man, if the Niners don't re-sign Ahkello Witherspoon, we can get him on the cheap. Let's bring him in because he understands the system. And I'm going to talk I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit more. So end off, you're doing the math. In those last 5 games, Ahkello Witherspoon was targeted 22 times, only yielded 9 completions. Do you know what that completion percentage is? 41%. That's it. Top that off with only 82 passing yards allowed in 5 games. Wow, excellent. And he only allowed 1 touchdown, came up with 1 interception for a total passer rating of what? 47.9. This is why you guys follow me. My analytics and my grading systems do not lie. But which brings us to our next parameter. Why was the move made? Why did the Seahawks, right here, you see it right here? Okay, so why was the move made? Well, the Seahawks lost out on Shaquill Griffen, who signed a 3-year, $44.5 million contract to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars and GM Trent Baalke and defensive back coach Chris Ash over there. Cool story, bro. Okay, so why did the Seahawks bring in Witherspoon? Well, again, I just said he's a scheme fit, knows the cover 3 scheme. He comes from the same system. He's an instant plug-and-play player. He has Pro Bowl and All-Pro potential, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And he comes on the cheap. 1 year, $4 million prove-it deal. If he balls out of control, he's not getting out of Seattle. They're going to extend him. Hands down. Wait for it. Which brings me to my last parameter. Instant gratification versus long-term gains, all right? Again, I talked about starter potential and Pro Bowl potential when it comes to Ahkello Witherspoon's game. Furthermore, Quinton Dunbar is an unrestricted free agent. He was the starting boundary cornerback. They already lost Shaquill Griffen, which I just mentioned. They now lose Quinton Dunbar. He's not coming back. In fact, this is the 1-year anniversary where they went ahead and got him. And now he's a free agent coming over from Washington, so he's not going to return. Why? Well, when you take it into consideration and see what they're doing, they got Ahkello Witherspoon as 1 boundary quarterback. There's no way he's not starting. Trust me, he's going to be starting. The other boundary cornerback is on the depth chart is Tre Flowers. Well, he kind of struggled, but again, if you're GM John Schneider, you really don't have much options here because you only have 3 draft picks for the 2021 NFL draft class, and you're not going to use one on a boundary quarterback when you can have a serviceable replacement in Tre Flowers. And people are asking, well, why they only have 3 draft picks? Well, remember they got Jamal Adams. That's a first-round pick. And then they traded for Gabe Jackson, interior offensive guard, to team up with Damian Lewis, the 3rd round pick. So they yielded a 5th round pick there. So they only have 3 draft picks. 3 draft picks in the 2021 NFL draft class, which is why I believe Tre Flowers is going to roll on one side. Ahkello Witherspoon is going to roll on the opposite side there. All right. So that's pretty much it for this podcast. If you like my analysis and insights on this podcast, be sure to hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Also, again, if you're a Seahawks fan, 49ers fan, it doesn't matter. The BEASTwriter family has all 32 fan bases all in one. Just be respectful of each other's comments. That's all I ask. I love engaging with you on this platform, so please leave your comments. And again, welcome to the BEASTwriter family. Again, I am going to go on a podcast on a live stream here at 6:30 p.m., which is about, I don't know, half an hour from now, and talk about Kerry Hyder Jr. along with K'Wan Williams re-signing with the San Francisco 49ers on a 1-year deal, along with my day 2 sleepers and the Alabama Pro Days, the USC Pro Days, the Purdue Pro Days. A lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. And again, if you like my analysis and insights, subscribe to your boy. BEASTwriter out. Peace.